We made it. It is ready. Hello, hello. Finally, we are ready. This is the final violin. I think it turned out very nice. I'm impressed how the entire feedback when you look at this is exactly how I actually made up my mind years ago. When I was designing it the first time, I was thinking about how the precious stones in the edge and around the necks, around the ribs and the scroll with this gold, how it will appear that it's slightly outstanding, and then the warmth of gold. It's exactly how I wanted it. I was afraid that the osmium is a little bit like diamonds, a little bit too cold, and I tried to make it in a combination of other materials, precious materials, in order that it has a soft and warm appearance. I used surfaces where to put the stones and the osmium, which I knew already are actually problematic and which are responsible for the final sound. It's like here in the corners, for instance, on the back and even on the top. And these are areas when you make the thicknesses of the plates of the top and the back are pretty critical, because a tiny changing in this area changes the characteristics of the way how the plates are vibrating. So by putting these decorations here, I was somehow risking a lot that at the very end it doesn't really sound at all. And as long as you do not pull up the strings, you never know how an instrument really sounds. Even so, you have 40 years of violin making experience and even some more years in instrument making, which is not a guarantee, but after all, it worked out. And another thing which I think was a wise decision, that I designed a new model. This model I call now Eros Edgar Russ Osmium, the Eros model. It has longer Cs, and this somehow in my experience showed me that the C bouts are probably have the biggest impact on the final sound. So when you think of the Stradivari and the Guarneri, where you look at first is certainly the Cs, and 1 or 2 millimeters in a C bout, a different shape, makes it from one character to another. And I wanted somehow a little bit of Guarneri sound, with a rich character, but the looking as a beauty of the Stradivari. So I didn't want to make these rough Guarneri corners. So I tried to make them beautiful with nice the purfling coming together in a very nice and harmonic way. And I think it turned out very good. This morning I heard the instrument for the very first time. Lena arrived quite early in the morning. Up to that point I was a little bit tight and nervous. And when I heard the violin, it was for me like a guarantee. Over the years I got used to the playing of Lena, and I have confidence that what I hear when she plays is what it is in reality. I can compare it with all the other instruments I've made, and I was really surprised that it sounded exactly how the direction of sound how I wanted it. The direction of the sound, I like it when it's slightly silvery on the higher strings, and that it has a character towards the Guarneri sound. Of course, there is nowhere written that you have to put on so much precious material on an instrument, especially on the belly and on the area where the fluting is, where actually the sound is being created. And it's not an instrument which you can compare with another instrument, but it definitely is an instrument which has its own sound, the OSMIUM violin sound. And when Lena played it, the first 2 bow strokes, she said, wow, very promising. That was the very first words, and I just like, oh, it's like when you go with a car over a hill and you, oh, you know. And I feel already how much tension I have created over these past 30 months or 32 months to create this instrument. You wouldn't imagine how much you have to think of certain things, how many things have to be solved, how many things you try, the model, the work, how to set in all the pieces, how this with the fingerboard turned out, the ribs which I had to reinforce because of all these cuts to put in all the osmium decoration. So we have it reinforced with a thin layer of carbon fiber, which you do not see anywhere. So if you look inside, there is only wood, and on the outside only wood. And this certainly helps that the entire instrument doesn't waste energy on only a stroke, and it's super quick responding because of this reinforcement on the ribs. The bridge I initially wanted to decorate as well with some drawings, but I couldn't find a way how to put the decoration here onto the bridge, and so at the very end I just thought, okay, we put it like this and then we see how it sounds, and then let's see if later on I will still work on it to make a specific decoration for the bridge, a little bit like the Stradivarius. Maybe you have seen them already when they decorated even the bridges on his Verheggen instruments. I have no idea how long I will be here owner of this instrument, and how quick it will be in the hands of a new owner. We don't have a new owner, by the way, okay? This is a project which we just created for Kurt Assam, owner of OSMIUM Art. He was the one who had the idea to create a musical instrument, and then my friend Charlie gave him the idea, I know the right person to make a good sounding decorated instrument. Let's do it with Edgar, and we make a violin. And so I, on the way, came to this project. Then the entire project, how it has been created, what kind of decoration, that's something I created with my mother on an island trip a few years ago. I used this decoration actually on a double bass, and here I just adapted it on the different locations on the instrument. I created this here because I couldn't bend the osmium, so I made it this way, and I think it looks really fancy. And even with the fingerboard, this decoration, dividing it like this, was actually also a winning idea. The pegs as well are a great way how to make it. We have here, because of the different stones, put it on each peg in a different way. We can figure out which side of the peg, in order that we can detect every single piece, as well as on the entire instrument. Every single piece of osmium has its own identification code. This was a request of the Osmium Institute, which is making and distributing the osmium, the crystalline osmium. There was also only this, seems like, well, you know, you have then one piece, but we could never have more than 2 pieces out of an envelope. And it was always, even with 2 same pieces, always a problem that we don't switch them and that we forget which one is which one. So it was really working with a lot of envelopes, boxes full with envelopes. And I'm happy that it is all now done, and I don't have to dream anymore about all these codes. Every single piece is on its original created position, and it really sounds great, much better than I expected. And I'm looking already forward for the next few months how it starts to vibrate more and more, and it will be richer and richer. So now it is super young. It's our newborn baby here, and it will develop very, very nice. I'm super excited about the whole project, about the outcoming of that violin. Now we bring it to Vienna, Austria, and at the time you will see it, you will also be able to listen to it. So now I'm going to give you a sound check to listen to. It's always what you listen via the computer, but believe me, in reality it's just mind-blowing how good it sounds. It's just incredible. I like it very much. I fell in love already. How do you like the violin, Lena? How is your impression?
Allora, bellissimo, secondo me il suono. Mi ha molto stupito, ecco, perché mi aspettavo qualcosa di molto diverso, ma comunque suona veramente come un violino. È bello il suono, ha il suo carattere, anche timbro molto brillante, ecco, è molto potente.
Molto potente.
Sì.
Quindi il peso incide un po', fai fatica o?
Allora, diciamo che è più pesante di un violino, ma comunque è meno pesante di una viola, no? Quindi io sinceramente non patisco tantissimo, ecco, il peso.
Just asked if, beside that it's very beautiful and responds quick and everything, you heard it already. I asked if the weight is a problem, and actually we were putting it on the scale for 592 grams. And as Lena already said before, it's a little bit like a viola, and so then I went to the front and measured a small and a bigger size viola, and they're between 607 grams to 578 grams, at least my smallest and my tallest viola. So it's actually in between the size of a viola. On the neck there is actually not so much weight, and the weight is on the body, so by playing it's not really a fatigue. I even saw it that she didn't have problems by playing. Yeah?
Posso dire un'altra cosa, che è perché è molto comodo per suonare, no? Quindi è stato pensato anche ornamento, quando suono non la tocco, è comodissimo anche come è stato sistemato la tastiera, per quello che anche non patisco molto il peso.
Very comfortable to play, the fingerboard, how it is made, even the decorations in the beginning when she took it in the hand, I immediately said, here. But I made it in a way that you can here actually I just didn't do anything on this side here on the neck, and only on the sides. So when you take it in your hand, actually you think that you will touch it and it will disturb, but actually by playing you never touch it. So you play it, and while you play you don't really There's nothing which is reminding me because of the touch that it is a decorated instrument. It's made in a way that it is for a musician, and then you can play it very well. Yeah. Ok, e questa decorazione qua alla fine della tastiera?
No, non ho creato, ho comunque provato anche diversi brani virtuosistici, ma non ho mai toccato, quindi se esistono altri brani.
Sono cervellato, ho pensato di tutto per non avere la cosa che disturba, avevo paura che poi magari vai subito a vedere, invece è andata bene. Even on the fingerboard, the decorations, the fingerboard ends in 4 flat areas because the osmium you cannot bend it, or actually you can slightly bend it in one direction, but then you cannot bend it back, it would break, it's very brittle. So I had 4 surfaces, and it's made in a way that I just was hoping that it won't disturb, and actually it turned out a winning solution, that here you can actually play all the way up where you need it and it does not disturb. Yeah, that's also good, very nice. And overall, your impression, la tua conclusione per ora, generale così, che cosa ti lascia un po' questo strumento mentre che l'hai suonato?
Questo strumento indubbiamente è bellissimo da vedere, ma anche bellissimo da suonare. Quindi comunque mi dà comunque una sensazione un po' nuova della risposta, però ha anche questa caratteristica di legno che vibra, quindi per questo mi stupisce molto.
Okay. Lena said that it is a very nice sensation to play. It's nice to look at, and it's very nice to play as well. It's a new instrument. It still has to develop its final sound. As we all know, you cannot immediately compare a new instrument with an antique instrument, but it's, I would say, very, very promising. That was also one of the first words she was saying this morning when she had the first tones. She was saying promettente, promettente, promette bene, promette bene. Promising. It promises very good. So it worked out very well. And if I can say also, I was actually this morning super nervous if everything sounds well, if there will be a buzz or something, which is actually the main issue here. And I was pretty surprised that the sound is corresponding very well to what I actually was thinking of to go, in which direction of sound I'm going to. And I'm very satisfied how the instrument, the OSMIUM violin, turned out to sound. Yeah. If it wouldn't sound, it would be kitsch. Yeah. And like this, it's a very precious, great sounding instrument. Grazie Lena per il tuo tempo, poi dopo ovviamente lo suoniamo insieme a Vaduz, questo è anche molto bello che tu...
Sono molto onorata.
No, ma sono contento che vieni lì e lo suoni lì. Last thing I just wanted to show you, maybe then later on you will see a video somewhere about the presentation, and it will be exhibited like this here, standing like this, and we created an AND button with a pretty big diamond actually, which we have a tiny key, and then tuck, and we can take it out, and then there is a hole through, and then it comes on a golden stick, and then it's standing like this straight here. Yeah, there was also, in the beginning you would say something like this you make in 1 or 2 days. It took us weeks, you wouldn't believe so. Yeah, there were even some companies here who should have made it on a turning machine, and they refused what I said I would pay everything, and they didn't want to do it. Yeah, so it was not this easy. It was much more difficult. And the one who put the gold around the diamond, he had to make it by hand, so in order that it works with the gold in here. Anyhow, fulfills me with extreme pleasure here. I'm very happy that I could do this. I hope you like it as much as me. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.